Alrighty, hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I go by the YouTube handle Cryptic Lovecraft. In today's video, I actually want to talk about books some more. I've been watching a lot of book channels on YouTube lately, so I just kind of want to throw my hat in the ring a little bit. I'll get back to making metal videos eventually. But in the meantime, there's actually a vampire book that I love vampires. I absolutely love vampires. I typically dress up like a vampire for Halloween almost every year. If I don't go as Dracula or something, I go as like the Phantom of the Opera. It's just kind of my thing. But anyway, there's a book series that I find to be criminally underrated. So much so, in fact, that I can find all these YouTube videos about all these other vampire series, but there aren't any YouTube videos about this series. And the author is Karen E. Taylor, and this book right here is Blood Secrets. It's the first in the Vampire Legacy series that Karen E. Taylor wrote. Karen E. Taylor is really cool. I remember when I was still in high school, I used to email her a little bit, just a couple times, but she always responded, and she was really cool. And then later on in life, I was friends with her on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I don't keep in touch with her anymore, but I did for a minute. I always kind of felt like this series, and I'm not dunking on Twilight. I read Twilight. I read it before it was a movie, but I always felt like this was worthy of some of that success, and I'm not sure that this book was like the series was highly successful, which I find really puzzling because the characters in it are really cool. So I'm just gonna give I'm not going to review the whole entire series, but let me just do a brief review of book one, Blood Secrets, and it's been about 20 years since I've read it, but it was really cool. So I'll actually go ahead and read the back. It says, Vampirus. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Deirdre Griffin, and I'm a vampire. Naturally, I didn't choose to become one, and I've spent the last few centuries trying to track down the vampire who converted me. Currently, I'm living in Manhattan, making my living as a successful dress designer. I spend my evenings at the Ballroom of Romance, a popular nightclub where I satisfy my bloodlust with weekly feedings. Unlike other vampires, I never drain my victims. But not all vampires are as civilized as I. It seems there's another vampire on the loose, only this one is draining his victims and pointing the finger of suspicion at me. Now, nightlife in Manhattan's fast lane isn't all it's cracked up to be, especially when you're accused of murder. What's a woman to do? If you're a vampire like me, you use your feminine wiles to hunt him down and show him how much deadlier the female of the species can be. Okay, so there's a little bit of fempowerment there, or whatever. Nevertheless, I absolutely loved the series. I just absolutely loved it. I wish it would have been much more popular. I think it's a crime that it's not, but I'm doing my part. After 20 years, I'm doing my part. I'm making a video about it, and I'm hoping that it catches a little bit of traction. All right, so she mentions, her name is Deirdre Griffin. She's a vampire. She lives in Manhattan. She makes a living as a successful dress designer. So I thought the fact that she was a fashion designer was really cool, and she's a vampire. And the back of the book explains that the plot is that some other vampire's on the loose and draining their victims and pointing the finger of suspicion at her. Okay, so she's friends with the owner of that nightclub, the Ballroom of Romance. His name is Max. He's an elderly guy. He's pretty good to her. They're good friends. They have been for a number of years. she gets all this VIP treatment when she goes to his club. Well, the murders start occurring around there, and this detective, a middle-aged guy, I mean, it's your typical, hunk in a romance novel, and I think that this is more romance than anything. But then again, most vampire books are. He has to investigate her, and some romantic tensions build up. And if you're anything like me, you're probably going to be able to predict the end, but I'm not giving any spoilers here. The guilty person turned out to be who I thought it was. Their motive was, a little typical, but it was still a fun read with really cool characters. And I hate to give spoilers, but there's like 7 books in the series. So in book 2 is titled Bitter Blood. Book 2 kind of goes into Deirdre's backstory. Then there's book 3. Things start to go a little south, but Deirdre and her lover, Detective Mitch Greer, they go on to have some adventures. Book number 4 was pretty cool. There was a twist that propelled the story to go forward. I thought that was really interesting. We meet a certain character in book 4 who goes on to have their own book, The Vampire Vivian. I really enjoyed this one, and I really liked the character. Then there's a 6th book, Resurrection. I really enjoyed this one as well. And then the final book, Blood Red Dawn. I thought that was a really cool title for the book, and it pretty much concluded the series. I would say it offered a happy ending. It's pretty formulaic writing, but the characters that she gives us, they're really likable characters. If I could live in this universe, I would, so it was a great, it offers great escapism. And I think it's a shame that it didn't get very popular. I've never met anybody who's read it except for me. Even people I know who like vampires or whatever, they've never heard of this series. And I'm like, everything's there. Like, they're sexy people who save the world. It's just as good as like Buffy or Angel or Forever Night or Twilight. Any vampire series that ever blew up, like the Vampire Diaries, which I also read in middle school. It's just as good as any one of those other things. It has something for, if you're into vampires and like vampire romance, I think that you might have missed the train with this series. So I highly recommend checking it out. That's really all I have to say. I don't want this video to drag on too long. Thank you guys for watching. If you have read it, please let me know in the comment section what you thought. I don't want to be hyping something. I'm just saying I liked it, okay? I'm just expressing my own feelings. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. Horns up. Peace out.